Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get into the good stuff. What are your guilty pleasures?
Oh my, that wasn't on the approved question list. Guilty pleasures, are we talking, well, food-wise, it's sushi. I'm like obsessed with sushi. But other than that, it's actually baseball.
Nice.
Like other than music, I would say my next big love is baseball. So as soon as we're done this interview, I'm gonna watch a Blue Jays game and then the Dodgers play later. So
Nice.
yeah, I guess. I think it's pretty cool, so I'm not that guilty about it, but
Okay, well, so what are your musical influences?
well, when I first kind of got started, it was with the harmonica. I didn't even have a guitar, so I was into Bob Dylan and Little Walter is an old legendary blues harp player. So those were the early ones. But as I progressed a little bit, I started writing my own material, and I got into kind of heady, pretentious guys like Jim Morrison, and got kind of into the classic rock thing. And yeah, so then there was Sam Roberts and Ben Queller, kind of some of the new guys who led me in that direction.
Is that like why you wanted to become a musician? Just like these amazing artists?
Well, it kind of happened accidentally, really. Like I got a guitar and I started writing my own songs just for fun, and then people were asking me to play at parties and then at different city events and festivals and all that. So it really just, I didn't set out to be a musician. I just kind of fell into it.
Really?
Luckily.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what inspires your lyrics? They're very, I find, you've been through a lot of heartbreak in some ways?
Yeah.
Or just understand what heartbreak is?
I guess I've been afflicted by heartbreak. I've also caused heartbreak. I think a lot of my songs are about frustration in a way. I don't necessarily sit down and write when I'm feeling sad or when I'm feeling happy, but if there's some sort of conflict, that's what inspires me to write. So whether that conflict is romantic love or friendship or wanting to be at the next level or jealousy, kind of those human emotions that boil under the surface, those are the jumping off points for songs.
Do you ever get help writing your lyrics?
Oh yeah.
Band guys? Or?
I've written some songs with some of the band members, but I don't always play with the same band. I hire different guys for different tours. But I've worked with a bunch of different songwriters over the years. Most recently, a guy named Ian Moore, who worked with Bob Dylan, and he's a good guy. Jay Semko from the Northern Pikes, Canadian legends. So I've definitely, I wouldn't say help, but it's a team effort, right? Different ears, different approaches to songs kind of broaden your horizons.
Yeah, they're lovely. I love your music.
Oh, okay.
So how did the opportunity come about that you were able to create a song for the charity Make Music Matter?
Yes.
Sam Roberts?
Yeah, Sam Roberts. So essentially, they posted online that they wanted to, the charity was already a thing. They do great work over in Africa and here, allowing victims of trauma to express themselves through music. And they teamed up with Sam Roberts saying, we want a song. And they put this call out, and they held a little bit of a competition, and hundreds of songs were submitted, and there was a whole voting thing like there always is, and from all of that they chose my song, and Sam listened to my song, so they flew me out to Toronto, and I got to record with him and create some art, and then the sales from that feed back into the charity, so that's on iTunes, and it feeds into the charity so that they can do more work all over the world. So the song was called Fire from the Spark, which the idea was the small idea, whether it's creative, whether it's socially conscious, just a small idea can grow into a huge movement. And I think that applies both musically to what I do, but also to what they do, what the charity does.
Yeah, it's so great. So, if you could remake one song, what would it be?
Like redo one of my songs or a song?
Both, maybe.
Well, in regards to my own songs, I don't really go back and listen because I would want to redo all of them because there's things that I'd like to add and change and all that. But I think maybe your question was like a classic song that...
Yeah, or now, or if you could just do one song out there in the universe. Music universe.
I'm not sure. I kind of grew up with Motown songs. That was what my parents kind of raised me on, I guess. So I'd like to take maybe like an old Sam Cooke tune or a Marvin Gaye song. I really like to I'd like to take a stab at Mercy Mercy Me, Marvin Gaye. That's what I'll say.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, so what makes you stand out more than other musicians, do you think, in this kind of, I guess, in the Calgary scene?
Well, I
Canadian scene?
think that's the biggest struggle facing artists of any kind or musicians, is you can stand out in one way, but every act stands out in some way, right? It just depends on where you're looking. So the way that I've tried to focus my career is just like the hard-working aspect. We've really put an emphasis on the live show and like going out to small towns and shaking a lot of hands and meeting people and being very personable because, U2 or whatever, they're so huge, they're untouchable that for me at least, I don't connect with that. It's like the idea of royalty. Like their problems are not relatable to me. So
there's no chance of you selling out?
Well, again, selling out is such a strange term. If they offered me $1 million to do something, I might consider it. That's a lot of money. Like I think any artist who doesn't look at all the options is limiting themselves career-wise, but also artistically. Some of us were kind of talking earlier, like being a big band allows you a lot of opportunities creatively, socially, and all those things. So the term selling out doesn't really mean much to me. I just like to make art that I think people can relate to, that they can understand. And if they can't, then I don't expect them to like me or to be a fan at all. But I do know that it works for some people. I would just like to find more of them.
Well, Matt doesn't, he is super talented vocally and lyrically, I think, so, like, don't worry, you're standing out.
Okay.
Just a kind of a fun question, maybe. So, tell me more about the song Everything Connected and the reason why you chose it to compete for your Story Hive TELUS grant competition. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, I've just kind of started the process of working on a new album. Everything Connected almost didn't even make the cut. I wanted to take the album in a slightly edgier direction, a little more bluesy. And when I first wrote it, it was very folksy, very like by the campfire, questioning technology, and like, oh yay, we're all connected. And I didn't really like it. But I showed the producer, and he said there's some potential in there. Brian Moncars is his name. And so we reworked it, reworked the lyrics, spent a lot of time on it, and when we went into the studio, we thought, if we think it's a good idea or we've done it before, then we won't do it. So we put in some loops because there hasn't been that on my other albums. And we just kind of crafted it very differently, and suddenly a song that didn't really excite me was exciting me a lot, and it has, again, a socially conscious message, and it's meaningful. So the video idea just kind of came up naturally about everything literally being connected, and we'll tie a whole bunch of crazy stuff together, and it just, the idea came to itself.
Yeah, it's so weird in this day and age, like, this is what, like, your song means to me, that, you know, we're all connected, like, we're always on our phones, or, you know, but really, are we really connected, you know? Like, you know, that's what I kind of got from it, so.
Yeah, well, I'm glad, because that was the intention. You know, we are in an age where we're more connected to everything. You can ask any question and get an answer almost immediately, but at the same time, sometimes you have to put down the phone, you know? So it's not a negative approach on anything. It's not saying change your life in any way. It's just saying that there are a lot of ways to view all our different connections. It's more of a inquisitive nature.
Like, and we met, and it wasn't through the internet at all. Like, we just happened to bump into each other at the Night Owl one time, and here we are.
Here we are today.
Okay, so the most challenging song/album to record in your career so far?
Well, I would probably say it's the one that we're working on now. My first album, I was very green, and we hired a producer, and we said, okay, like, teach us. And so it all just kind of washed over me and just let it happen. Second records, I produced myself, so it was just like, I really held the reins, maybe a little too tight. Now this record, the challenge is finding the balance of creative integrity, but also knowing that you need to sell this record one day, wanting to say everything that you want to say in a way that is entertaining. So I'll definitely say this new record.
Wow, that's great. Well, good luck with it.
Thank you.
And so far, so good. Sounds good to me.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's a funny question. So on your YouTube, you have like these little like webisodes or whatnot, like going through your tour. I see you drinking a lot and eating too. But so, what's your favorite alcoholic beverage?
My favorite alcoholic beverage is definitely gin. Gin right now. I'm a gin man. There's a lot of gin fans out there. So the thing is, being a singer, I find I can't drink a lot of beer before we go on stage, because you just like can't move around. Yeah, it's like you don't want to sing a lyric and then burp right in the middle of that soft, sweet ballad. But I mean, alcohol is one of those things that is kind of always around in food. Like, those are kind of the exciting things about being on the road, is like finding that new bar with some great food and all that. So it does permeate, especially the tour life, a lot. So I'll say like a gin tonic.
Really?
Yeah.
What was like National Caesar Day? The other day I have gin Caesars. Those are my favorite.
Nice.
Okay, so I guess before we go, do you have any tours coming up for your fans, or anything you're going to be working on?
We're not going to do a lot of touring just yet. I think the next tour is going to come end of summer, fall-ish, when we get some more recorded. So that's the focus right now. We'll send some stuff to radio, and depending on where it lands, that's where we'll land. So people can just Facebook me or Google me.
Matt Blais, Facebook.com.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Blais Music, right?
MattBlaisMusic.com.
YouTube, Matt Blais Music. What else? Twitter, Matt Blais Music.
Everything's pretty much Matt Blais.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Do
me.
you think we did a great job?
I think the whole team was fantastic.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.